your research method for, say, a historical movie,
Mm-hmm.
I've been telling everybody one of my favorite movies of yours is 8 Men Out.
Thank you.
So, like, was there, like, because there's a great deal written about that movie,
Right.
but a lot of the stuff that that seemed to be in that movie was more about the newspaper reporting.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite scenes is when you were Ring Lardner and you're going through the train scene,
Mm-hmm.
you're always blowing ball games.
Right. Yeah, all I knew about Ring Lardner from his, because he was on film once, but I haven't been able to see this film, is descriptions of him being tall and with a very, very dry sense of humor, that he always kind of dressed like an undertaker, and that he would sing barbershop quartets with a guy and he would sing bass. So I pitched my voice down when I did it, and I can actually sing in character. I can't sing as me, but I could, channel a barbershop quartet and sing this thing. But that was something that ball players would do on the road, was sing these barbershop quartet things. Yes, for instance, the games back then, the box scores actually said each play grounded to shortstop. So I knew the blocking for the entire World Series. Because blocking is geometrical, and first base is always 90 feet from home plate at a certain angle, and so you knew, if you know the game of baseball, you knew where all your actors were going to move when a certain thing happened. But also, I read the rules of baseball for 1990, which were different than they were today. And I read enough about it to know that the gloves were these little flimsy things that, much smaller than what they use today, and that the outfielders, rather than carry them in, were allowed to just throw them down. So you see the outfielders after the inning's over, throw their glove down and just leave it out there, because it's not big enough to really almost trip over and run into the thing. There were a couple things that I couldn't do because we couldn't afford them. But, those details kind of helped you feel like it was period baseball, including the rules of baseball changed. They didn't change the baseball after every time it got a smudge on it until the next year when somebody got killed by a fastball at twilight, and they blamed it partly on this ball that had been spat on with tobacco and everything, and you really couldn't see it. It wasn't played anymore. And because the rules used to say the home team will provide the ball. And if it got hit as a foul ball into the stands, you had to give it back, or else the game couldn't go on. And so we had a dirty ball. If I was setting the movie in 1921, it would have been a clean ball. That kind of detail, I think it helps the actors, but it also, without making too much of it, gives you just a kind of sense of, we're not in the 20th century. We're not in the, modern world. Huge thing in movies is most old thrillers don't work anymore because people have cell phones. And now when you write a thriller, you have to deal with things. People have fucking GPS. Sorry about my language. That's not actually the product name. And they could get out of a lot of problems. When it used to be, they were looking for the phone booth, and they found it, and they didn't have enough change, and all that Hitchcock suspense stuff that kind of goes out the window when everybody is wired.